All right, should be live, should be up and running. Let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for July 1st, 2021. SPY up a little over 0.5%, 0.57 there. Q's basically flat, and then IWM up almost 1%. We've seen the last few days the IWM lag a little bit. You can see today it's the leader. And so when all time frames and all indices are all bullish, it's easy to expect bullishness. It's just, I think, the trickier thing or the more interesting thing these last few days is that we continue to have rotation. Okay. Tomorrow morning, we'll see how the market responds to jobs numbers, first Friday of the month. And we'll see if, that shakes things up a little bit. We did see last time we had FOMC. That kind of shook things up a little bit. It kind of just changes the pace of the market. But all three Qs, SPY, and IWM look bullish. Okay. I feel like that's really the only thing. If tomorrow's response is pretty muted, I expect tomorrow to be pretty quiet. Going into a 3-day weekend, I already took a look at the earnings list for tomorrow. There are 0 for tonight and 0 for tomorrow morning. Okay, so tomorrow I expect to be pretty quiet unless there's some kind of decent sized gap in the Q, SPY, and IWM, which there is possibility. Okay, so IWM, Q, SPY were pretty range bound throughout the day. All three, IWM of course being the most bullish, but even you look at this bar, it's really not a wide range bar of any kind, so it wasn't a heavy kind of momentum day on the IWM either, even though this was the strongest. Okay, so as has been the case, as we've had this grind, especially on the Qs and the SPY, this uptrend, very nice looking on the SPY, we remain bullish. Okay, we have room to pull back. Okay, but even on a pullback, it's going to be a short-term pullback, and then expecting continued strength. Okay, for now. We'll see what we get tomorrow. All right. So today, even though I'm expecting a quiet day tomorrow, I don't think today was all that different. Okay. Now, if you were in the room, in the morning, there's only two things I gave you numbers on. First one was the MFGP, and the big disappointment with the MFGP was that I couldn't get filled. Okay, you can see this drop right here, and I was trying to get it when it was at 71, 72, dropped to 67, took my order down, didn't try it again. So that is a pretty big disappointment because this was a huge play, and I just didn't fill any of my shares. Now you look at this daily, and you might wonder, why are you playing an ADR? We typically don't play ADRs, and that's because of the volume at the open. Okay, I've stressed this before. I stressed this last week during the open house. There were a couple times that the VOD was gapping down, but look at this volume, right? So this was the opening volume on the 15-minute chart here. Okay, you can see much more significant. So it's probably going to move. Okay, so yeah, it's such a bummer. You figure out kind of which is the best, kind of the play of the day, and you just can't get filled on it. It definitely is a bit of a heartbreaker. I did what I could though. I mean, I tried to get filled. It's a great setup. It's a good gap. I got the confirmation that this was moving. So some stuff out of your hands was still kind of disappointing, right? So, I mean, if you compare with last week we had kind of okay to end off the Friday. You can see all that volume that came in right at the open. Okay, so if we zoom out, you can see how much it stands out. That today it's probably going to move a lot. Also, last week we had the VOD. Now, the VOD I did watch on these days, but didn't seem like it was going to be that big of a deal. Okay, you can see how these days kind of spikes are not, blowing the other ones far and away in terms of amount of volume and size. Okay, because yes, they can follow through, and I think even on this one, it did follow through some, right? But on the days that we're going to play, especially if it's an ADR, we really need the volume to be big, because that means that there's you know, that's our confirmation that something big is happening, right? Look at the how much volume the S&P got on that day. Because otherwise, on all these little days that it gaps all the time, sometimes they'll be big, sometimes they'll be small, but it's hard to tell. It's really hard to know, is this going to be a big day or not, right? Especially if the volume, you can see here, it stays pretty low throughout all this, relatively speaking. Okay, and so you end up getting a lot of little doji bars. And doji bars, right, it means that if you're playing breakdowns or breakouts, especially at the low of the day, at the high of the day, you have an increased chance that you're actually going to be selling at the lows or buying the highs. So we want to avoid that, right? Okay, so, you know, MFGP just did what I could. Tried to get it. Other thing I could have done more was played the 1, 2, 3. I think it was on the 2 minute here. Was played as a 1, 2, 3. Get it there, and then put the stop there. It's, you know, kind of hard to want to do that, right? Because I already tried to get it here when it was breaking down. And now I want to get it here and then put my stop where I should have already been in, and then I'm getting in. Like, this was only 8-9 cent stop. And then I'm getting in like 5-6 cents late on something that originally I tried to get, you know, on a 8-9 cent stop already. It was kind of the only thing that I could have done to really catch this move, but it's hard to do. So I'm not too hard on myself for not playing the 1, 2, 3. But I mean, this was kind of the best play today, and I think it holds all day. Yeah, holds all day. So I would be getting out the runner at some point here at the end of the day. So you can imagine 671 by 680, and it's closing here at 639. Okay, I think max on this, yeah, it's pretty close to 4 hours. I think just 4 hours. The other thing I gave you numbers on was the VIPs. VIPs was just after a pullback, gave a 2 minute base breakdown. This one I decided I didn't even try because wasn't sure how much follow through was going to get. Notice here on the daily, it's not a gap. Now it is a bearish chart. Look at this daily downtrend. It is a bearish chart, but I wasn't sure that this was really going to get moving today. It is bearish. I just don't know how bearish, and is it going to do it today? It looks more like, you know, like you would play a daily like this. You might need days before it actually gets to the target around whatever 1740 or 1730. So that one was okay. I just thought the setup on the intraday was pretty. But then aside from that, there was a lot of other kind of sloppy stuff. And I told the room this too, that like this kind of stuff, we have a lot of these lately, the low price, low volume things that are gapping up big to start the day. And they even look higher to start off, but they've been very unreliable, very, very sloppy. And you remember I talked about the AMST, or is it, AMST, which I tried on Tuesday or Monday, Tuesday I think, right? Very, very sloppy, all over the place. You see days later now, back down to below where it gapped up to. So there's a lot of this stuff. APRE is another one where low price, low volume, especially for something this low price, they're trying to transition, but they're having a really hard time doing it. Now, some will turn into big moves like the Journ, but even the Journ eventually gave it all back too. But on this day, obviously, there's a lot of potential here. So I'm just going to let them go, especially at the open. PBTS was nice, but the one thing about the PBTS was that it really didn't start moving until the afternoon. Okay, this was the pullback that we played. So just especially for the open. Now, of course, you look at this and you say, well, what if I'd got it at the open? I would have got a better price, maybe a tighter stop, and it would have been, you know, just as nice to be in it. Yeah, but I'm just seeing that a lot of these are also failing right at the open. And they're hard to get in and out of also at a good price because of the spread. So, yeah, so that's my plan moving forward. It's a lot different than like January, February when these same gaps were moving, same type of gaps, same stocks. Then I was trying to get them every single one that I could. Open, late morning, afternoon, whatever. Play them all. Now they're a lot less reliable, especially at the open. There's too many shakeouts, a lot of them fail, and they're kind of just not very liquid. So that's my plan moving forward. And so there's some, like this was great to get, but you can wait. You can wait till the afternoon, and then you'll avoid a lot of this other stuff that I saw today. So that was my plan coming into today. And so, that today's all this kind of stuff at the open confirmed it for me. And look how sloppy all this stuff looks. A lot of red, green, no tight base. Yeah, even, some 180 bars in there. So, yeah, so just good to avoid. And I'll continue to do that moving forward until I see them start to be more reliable. Okay? That's the plan. All right. Hope you did well today. I didn't think there was a lot, and I think tomorrow there will be even less. So I think if you were even considering maybe a 4-day weekend, or maybe just do a half day tomorrow, I think all of that's fine to plan for. I really don't have much expectation for tomorrow, but we'll see. I mean, we'll be here. I'll be going through the gaps in the morning, just like we do every market day. Okay. All right. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.